So the exhibition spans over two museums, Fundació Miró and Museum Marès, and within the two museums over three spaces. One is obviously Espai, then it's Sala 14, and the so-called Cripta in Museum Marès. So a central part in my work is always the experience of the audience. Where does a visitor enter? Where do they go? Where can't they pass through? Where is a bench where they can sit down? How does the perspective change? This is an important guideline for my work when I design a space or I modify a space or put up a show. Another important thought on this show was, what does the two museums, what do they bring to the experience? In both cases, when I go into the spaces, I have to walk through a big building with a lot of art that I see. So that basically builds up my experience once I enter my actual exhibition space. And that is a very crucial part of the work. And it expands even to the experience from going from one museum to another through the city, going from up the hill down in the city center. And this connection is part of a choreography I like to design and to manipulate on a larger scale and a smaller scale. Interesting to me is also that both shows span over a big amount of time. Let's say starting from the antique sculptures in Marès all the way through 19th century, 20th century to the contemporary art gestures that basically happened through my intervention. So the connection of the two museums also physically takes place by the loans that we got from Museum Marès that are exhibited in Miró, and then equally about a sculpture of mine that's exhibited in Marès. So it blurs the line between these two very different buildings and very different aesthetics of dealing with art. I work a lot with spatial modifications, and that can go in different directions. It can go very visible and very harsh, like the blockade of the entrance to Espai, where you walk down the stairs and then you're kind of forced to first look in the space and have an overview, and then to find your way through another door inside the exhibition. But it can also work through a piece of cloth that I use as a curtain that divides one space from the other, or a wall I break down in order to create a window into another space. A central aspect for me is to create a certain emptiness. So a lot of energy, resources go into this effort to basically clean and create space also for the visitor, and create space for the experience and for what you bring to the space. I worked equally with sculptural gestures that are very obvious, sculptures that are exposed, clearly readable as art, but then also I like to modify a lot of the structural elements that a building brings with itself, and modify a light system that is already there, or think about closing a window that might be there, or opening another window. In the end, it is a combination of objects where the value is very obvious to the visitors, and other objects where you can't really tell if they are part of the infrastructure, or they are even broken, or they are in a process of being modified.